Oh, yeah. What's going on, faithful? It's your boy Mike from the Nothing But Niners crew. We're here to have some fun, man. There's a lot of changes going on with the 49ers team, even though our head coach and GM denied it in the beginning of the offseason. But we're here to break it all down. My man Nick is here. My man Tony is here. And we're going to get down to the nitty gritty. But before we do, we have to go through the formalities, guys. I want to thank you guys for checking us out here at Nothing But Niners. The website is nothingbutniners.com. That is spelled all the way out. Again, we appreciate you guys taking the time and checking us out. You'll see some of the articles up there. You'll see our different social media handles over there as well. Twitter and Snapchat are nothing but 9ERS. You'll see the Facebook as well as the Instagram, and those are nothing but Niners, spelled all the way out. Guys, I'm Mike, 49ers Mike _NF. My man Nick is here. He is 49er Faithful 365. And my man Tony is here. He is NJ Niner fan. Is it 449?
499.
Damn it, man. One day I'm going to get it right all the way through. NJ Niner fan 499. He's got the extra 9 there, guys. All right, so we're going to break some stuff down, man. We got some things to talk about here. Like I said in the beginning of this, there was a lot of things that were happening this offseason that haven't officially happened yet. I just want to make this clear, guys. What we're talking about here is still technically speculation. There have been multiple reports about the strength and conditioning staff being let go. I haven't seen an official release from the 49ers acknowledging that. There's now talking about our former defensive line coach, Jeff Zgonina, being let go and him being replaced today by a Chris Kokurik. None of this has been confirmed by the 49ers yet, but the sources that we have on it, that we've seen on Twitter, Adam Schefter and things like that, guys are talking about it. It's pretty much a lock, but the team has not officially reported anything yet. So take everything we say with a grain of salt going forward. All right. So that's what I want to talk about today, man. So before we get down to all that, how you guys doing, man? Tony, what's going on, baby? How you feeling over there, man? Hope everything is good.
Mike, what's up? Nick, what's up? How's the arm, Nick? Good?
Yeah, it's coming along, man. Still a lot of pain, but it's good, man. It sucks it's 49ers off season, but it's cool because I got you guys and we can always talk Niners. So, yeah, man. Same old, same old.
All right, fellas. So it's time to chop it up, man. So let's start with this. There's off-season changes that weren't expected by Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, right? I want to start by asking you guys a simple question. Why at the presser, when Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch were asked a very direct question about whether or not there would be changes to their staff, why did we get such an emphatic no from Kyle Shanahan? Yet these rumors, because nothing again has been confirmed yet by the team, but these rumors are out here and they're running at will. Not only are we firing people, we've already started replacing them. So if you look at Chris Kokurik's Wikipedia page, it's already got the red and gold border on there for the 49ers and everything. So even though the team hasn't confirmed anything, it looks like it's a done deal. Why? Tony, I guess I'll start off with you, man. What Kyle Shanahan just seems so adamant that there was not going to be any changes, yet we're seeing some of them. What do you think caused
that? I think that they needed time to overlook the whole season, go over film, talk things over, and another thing, they had their eyes on the coaching waiver wire of who got released, who got fired, and maybe they saw this guy got released from Miami along with Adam Gase, and they felt he was an upgrade over Zgonina. Also, with Hafley going to Ohio State as the co-defensive coordinator, I honestly think that made it very easy for them to upgrade the defensive back coaching spot. And just going forward with that, I just feel like Lynch and Shanahan are always tight. They're not going to come out and say everything. They're going to dot their I's, cross their T's, make their final decision, and they're going to go out. You saw Zgonina go. You saw this guy go to Ohio State. And now they're evaluating talent. They're evaluating coaches that are available, and they're going to move forward and fill in the spots. The first move was this guy, Kokurik, brought in from Miami. 2 years with Miami, 9 years with Detroit. As you know, Martin Mayhew was the GM in Detroit. So there could be a connection there. And we currently still have the strength and conditioning spot open, the team physician open, and our defensive back coach position open.
All right, so Nick, man, yeah, I mean, you're right, Tony, on everything that you said. Nick, I want to ask you a question. I'm going to get back to the emphatic no's and things like that. Kyle Shanahan made it a point to block every request that we saw when the offseason first started. Every time a team requested to interview one of his staff members, he was shooting them down left and right, boom, 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 bong. Now we're seeing things like the quarterback coach is now going to be interviewing with Denver for their offensive coordinator position. And again, I do think that Kyle Shanahan truly meant that he wasn't going to let anybody go. Tony gave a couple of reasons why it's possible that it's happening now. Why do you think Kyle Shanahan has had a change of heart? Why all of a sudden is he willing to let these guys go and do these interviews? Because he openly refused them before. Do you think it was just that he refused them to certain teams? Or do you think that he truly didn't want the guys to go anywhere? And then when they realize that, I think there's a loophole between college and NFL. I think that we can block them from taking another job with the NFL. I don't think you can stop them from going down to college. So maybe Hafley found the loophole, and that kind of made Kyle Shanahan scared or hesitant to keep blocking guys, so he's allowed them to do it, or what. But Nick, I want to get your thoughts on that. I mean, we saw him say no. He was emphatic about it. He didn't hesitate. We saw him refuse interviews for guys, and now all of a sudden they're going to college. We're bringing in other guys, and they're interviewing now all of a sudden the same exact guys who were once told no, they couldn't. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, overall, I think that in the beginning, a couple days after, the first presser, a couple days after the season ended, Kyle Shanahan I don't think he thought that any of his coaches were going to want to leave. And then in the that would be my reasoning as to why he straight said no. But moving forward, and then blocking these guys, he was making changes without the coaching or within the coaching staff. Blocking, how you say his name? Scagnolia. Scangarella, that's it. But anyway, blocking him, they've worked together before. I think it came down to this is probably going to sound weird to everybody, but I think it really came down to maybe the friendship type that they had and him being able to get that type of promotion. Didn't want any animosity between the coaches, as in Kyle Shanahan blocking people from being able to better themselves. Because if you remember what Kyle Shanahan said, he's one to give people a chance to promote themselves. Hence, Robert Saleh. You know what I mean? He gave Robert Saleh a defensive coordinator position on true feelings that he could be a defensive coordinator. So you have to get your shot somewhere. And those shots don't come very often in the NFL. So I think maybe Kyle Shanahan kind of sat back and said, you know what, I can fill this position. And I think he has somebody in mind, because I don't think that he would necessarily let his coach leave if he didn't have somebody in mind. But didn't want to take away that opportunity for Rich to move on and promote himself within the league, because those chances don't come often. But I also think a lot of it had to do with not wanting that animosity of holding guys back, because you have to have trust in your coaches. And if your coaches don't agree with you not letting them get promoted, why do they want to be here? And it starts at the top. If your coaches are fighting amongst each other, we've seen this with Tom Sola and Harbaugh and all these guys. If they're not getting on the same page, it can cause animosity and just trickle down. So maybe that's why he made that choice.
Very good points there, man. You're absolutely right. And, you mentioned something about you think he has his choices made already. I want to touch on that before we move forward. Now, we've already let go of Ray Wright and the strength and conditioning staff. Again, I have not seen an official. You guys can wave me down otherwise, but I haven't seen a official notice from the 49ers acknowledging that. But seems to be universal. He hasn't replaced that staff yet. Now, we saw the DB coach, Jeff Hafley, leave, like Tony said, for the assistant defensive coordinator position or whatever with, Ohio State. and he hasn't been replaced yet. And then we see that Jeff Skonina was let go of. Now, we heard those rumors last week, but today we hear about his replacement. Nick, you mentioned, maybe he has other people in mind. Do you think that there are people on NFL staffs currently that are still in the playoffs? If you think back to when we hired Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, Lynch was the first hire because Kyle Shanahan was still in the playoffs and going deep in the playoffs with the Atlanta Falcons. We all knew, well, we didn't know for sure at the time, but Lynch and Jed York both knew that Kyle Shanahan was their guy. They both knew that without a doubt, but they couldn't say or do anything until the postseason came to an end for whatever team the staff members were on. Do you think that, your comment about, I think he knows who he wants. Do you think that these guys are still employed on a team that is still in the playoff hunt, or still in the playoffs right now?
Yeah, I mean, it could very well be. And like I said, it goes back to where I think Kyle Shanahan may already have an idea of who he wants, could have already. And we know that leaks don't really get out that much with the Niners anymore. So there could have been permission granted to talk to somebody and it just didn't get out. I wouldn't put it past Kyle. I really wouldn't put it past John Lynch either. I think that for the most part, they're really, really hush-hush. And they always seem to have a plan before they make an adjustment. So I do believe that they have something already up their sleeve. I'm not sure who it would be. We could sit here and ponder every person in the NFL, but we really don't know. But I think that you hit a good point there. I really do think that he definitely has something up his sleeve, whether it's somebody on an NFL team right now. It could even be a college coach of some sort. But we're just not hearing anything right now. Maybe it's going to be, he's going to have to fill this position probably to coach the South for the Senior Bowl. So it could be, but it also could be in-house that they just use right then and there so I wouldn't bet on getting our answer by the Senior Bowl, but he definitely has something up his sleeve.
Tony, I saw you, it looked like you were agreeing a little bit there as I was presenting the question to Nick. I want to get your thoughts on it. Do you think that there's someone already in mind that is potentially already on the radar for Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch?
I definitely think he has somebody, at least one or two people in line ready to roll. I think all these spots are going to be filled, minus strength and conditioning coach and the team physician are going to be filled before the Senior Bowl, which I think practices start on the 21st of January, I believe. Don't hold me to it. But as far as, I just want to touch on Scangarello. At first, he refused McDaniel. He refused LaFleur, the passing game coordinator and the running game coordinator, respectively. And he refused Scangarello. But in my opinion, I feel Scangarello might have said to Kyle, I want an opportunity to run an offense. He was an offensive coordinator, I think, at Wagner. Then he went to Kyle as an assistant in Atlanta. Then he came to us as the quarterback coach. But out of those three guys, I feel the easiest guy to replace would be Scangarello because McDaniel is a genius in the run game. He's responsible for the run game. And LaFleur is the passing game coordinator. And to be honest, I think our run game finished top 5 this year overall. And according to PFF, what is that? Pro Football Focus. Yeah, that. And I honestly feel he could handpick somebody that knows his system and implement them as the quarterback coach. I heard someone on Twitter named Rex Grossman. I heard and another dark horse. I mean, I'm being serious now, but the name to keep in back of your head is Chris Sims, the guy who's on that Lefko thing. What they do that podcast, but keep an eye on him because they're like this, and then he knows Kyle. Kyle trusts him. They play with each other at Texas. But I'm just throwing two names. One I heard, and I'm just using the other guy off the top of my head. But the reason why I think he knocked down the other two guys, they are more key components to his offense, and he leans on them more than he does on Scangarello.
Great point, man. Great point. So you touched on something else that I want to talk about now, and we're gonna try to change it up a little bit here. Chris Kokurik, you mentioned already that he was with the Dolphins last year, and in the previous 9 years he was in Detroit, right? And we already know about the Martin Mayhew connection there, and this is going to lead to other prospects and things like that coming down the pike, but and free agency and things like that. But let me ask you guys this question. I'm going to make it simple, then I'm going to double back on something else. All right. So Tony, we'll go to you first. So I see you're not muted. Do you think that this Chris Kokurik hire was another familiarity hire, like only?
Listen, Lynch and Mayhew played together in Tampa Bay, so there's a bond and a trust between those two guys. Lynch continued his career. Mayhew left Tampa, finished his career. He became the general manager of the Detroit Lions. There, his guys assembled his staff. This guy happened to be on that staff for 9 years. The only connection and the only familiarity that they have is I cannot say that word for some damn reason, but whatever. By being a GM, he oversees the whole operation. He sees the work ethic. He sees the time he puts in with his D-line. And granted, he had names there. He had a young Ansah. He had a Sue. He had, I even think Cliff Averill was there playing defensive end. But, I mean, once we found out, I texted you. I sent you the screenshot. I went on YouTube. The guy is intense as all hell. He specializes in a 4-3 penetrating scheme, which is kind of what we run. And, you know, I'm interested to see how he works. But I tell you what, everything you read, he comes highly recommended, and he's respected around the league.
All right. But do you think this was only a familiarity hire? Do you think that they really felt – all right, so let me rephrase it. One, do you think they would have moved on if he wasn't willing to come? And two, was he the guy because of familiarity? Do you think that they scouted around the league and looked for other people, or do you think that it was just, oh, I know this guy, he's cool, bring him in?
I think it's 60-40 familiarity.
Familiarity.
Mother.
Familiarity. It's all good, man. So you think 60% of it is because they're familiar with each other, the 40% is because of his qualifications?
Correct.
Okay. Nick, same question to you, man. I'm dying to get your answer on this because you like to keep me on my toes, so I think your answer is going to mess up my rebuttal here. So I'm anxious to see what you're going to say.
It's 100% familiarity. It is definitely 100% familiarity. And the only reason I say that is because Martin Mayhew, we've seen it in past. As much as I trust John Lynch and as much as I trust Kyle Shanahan, Martin Mayhew has had a big impact on who comes here. Since he's been here.
Tomlinson.
Yeah. You can see a ton of like his draft picks or people that were under him. And that's why I'm like worried to death that either Sue's going to be here. I mean, even a Cameron Wake, you know, because Wake was under this guy in Miami.
Ziggy Ansah.
So, I mean, it opens up other options, especially because of respect these players have. I read an article today that Ndamukong Suh's respect for this guy is like tremendously high. And he's going to be a free agent this year. And I think it's a see now, Tony, you got me all screwed up. Familiarity. A Mayhew move to bring in type B type players. I don't want to say type B because, I mean, Sue is a great player and Ansah is a great player, but there's a lot of red flags with them as well. So not to take anything away from what they've done in the NFL. It's just I don't like the guys. But it will bring those type of players there because they have that respect for that D-line coach. And players in the NFL do follow coaches. I mean, we can sit here and argue all day long that they don't, but they definitely do. I'm still a little weary about this pickup. And there was one thing that stood out to me from an interview that he did in Miami I watched, and it was saying, I don't care how old they are. I don't care how young they are. I don't care about the big name. I don't care about the little name. He's like, I just want people to come in every day and just get this ounce better each day. Where you can look at that two ways. You can look at it as he doesn't need these big names to make it players play well, or because he even said big school, little school. I don't need all that. I think this was when he was first hired with Miami, but it also kind of scares me a little way because it's like, okay, I can take a 7th round guy and put him on my D line and make him look good when really we don't need a 7th round guy on the line right now. We have first round guys on the line that we need to play well right now. But that scares me a little bit because he's like, we're going to do a lot of rotating, in Miami. We're going to do a lot of rotational type moves with defensive lines and stuff. So I'm still not sure about this pick yet, like this pickup. I have to look a little more into it, but it is definitely more of a Martin Mayhew pick than I think a John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan pickup.
Well, we know that Shanahan assembled his side of the offense with a bunch. Oh, go ahead, Tony. All right, Tony. We want to hear you, bro. You got to take it off of mute, brother.
I did. Oh, no. So when I just want to say the 60-40 ratio is when we hired Shanahan and he brought solid. He wanted all gas, no brakes, single gap penetration system. This guy specializes in like I said before, 4-3 front with penetrating scheme. I don't know if Zuniga did that. I don't know if he was the right guy for that. Maybe they weren't 100% on retaining him, and then when they saw this guy pop up, that's when the call came down from above and said, listen, bring this guy in. He's good, da-da-da-da, and they made the decision. But the 40% is mainly because of his style that he teaches. That style that he teaches will work well with Seattle's the cover 3 defense that Saleh's running.
If you guys think back to the last episode that we did together, we were talking about wish list items and things like that. And one of my big ones was defensive line coach. And I wanted someone who was going to be a little bit more brazen, someone who was going to put his foot down and not let the people over his head manipulate his decisions. My biggest thought with that was Solomon Thomas and his usage and how he bounced all over the defensive line. And I said during that podcast that any defensive line coach worth his weight in water is going to say, this guy should be playing here. This is his strength. We can't move him around back and forth. And I wanted to see somebody who was going to come in and put their foot down. Because let me tell you something, right? What's the running backs coach's name really quick? Rob. Oh God. He's not.
Bobby Turner.
Yes, Bobby Turner, Robert Turner. Yeah, he's not letting somebody say, "Hey, this guy should be running instead of this guy," and all that. Bobby Turner's going to get those guys ready, and if he thinks one of those guys needs to be benched, Bobby Turner's going to pull one of those guys. He's not going to tell you to have this running back running this kind of play if he knows that running back is incapable of executing that kind of play. Because Bobby Turner is well respected. He's been around the league long enough to know what his players can and can't do, and he's not going to make himself look bad, right? I don't know if Scanina had that in him. Now, Tony, you're telling me that this guy was fired up and things like that on the sidelines. I'm going to go and I'm going to look for these videos. I'm going to look for this tape because that's what I want to see. I want to see somebody who's going to be, poignant. Like they're going to put their foot down. They're going to emphasize this is what we're doing. It's not going to be a question. You let me know what your game plan is, and I'm going to put our guys in position to execute that game plan. You're not going to have to be calling down from upstairs saying, "Hey, our 3rd round pick hasn't had a snap in seven plays." No, our number 3 overall pick hasn't had a snap in 7 plays. No, he's not going to want to hear that. If you want to win, you want to be successful, this is what's going to happen. And that's what I'm looking forward to. Go ahead, Nick. I see you want to jump in.
Yeah, definitely. He reminds me of Jim Tomsula on the sidelines. Very, very active. He's very animated. It's kind of like a Jim Harbaugh animation with a Jim Tomsula animation mixed. That's definitely what he is. I've seen a couple clips of him. Maybe not as fired up as the head coach of the Dolphins that one year where he took the internship. I forget that guy's name, but he was pretty much batshit crazy.
Campbell.
Yeah. But he would maybe not that much, but definitely I would say a Harbaugh Tomsula mix of animation.
I'll tell you, if you look on Twitter, when they released it and it says, 49ers hire this guy, for the defensive line spot.
Coach
Keurig. I'll get that soon. And you see him with his hat on backwards, with the pencil coming down, his glasses on, and his damn veins are bulging out of his neck. He just looks like a maniac. But that's what you want in your defensive line coach, you know?
Yeah, you want someone that's going to have that nastiness running through him. You know what I mean? And that's what I like. I mean, obviously he played defensive tackle also. You know, he was a 7th-round draft pick and things like that. But that's what you want to see. You want someone who's going to pass that nastiness on to the other players. We got too many nice guys in here. We have too many – this is going to sound really bad. We have too many intelligent guys on this coaching staff. Everything can't be finesse. I want some nastiness in certain positions, and the trenches is where it has to be. It has to happen in the trenches.
Especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Yes. Yeah, you can't be a nice guy over there and just be letting these guys push you around and stuff. You got to get nasty in there, man. And so I'm hoping he can bring that to the table. Like I said, I'm going to do more research on it. That's why Tony and Nick are here. These guys have looked a little bit more into it than I have. But I do want to talk about something really quick. And we're on this Chris Keurig, and you guys were mentioning the incoming prospects like Ziggy Ansah because of familiarity, or possibly Ndamukong Suh because of familiarity with him and Mayhew and all that, right? Do you guys think that the exit of Jeff Zgonina is going to have an effect on who we were looking at with our first overall pick, or our first-round pick in the draft? So, for example, if Jeff Zgonina was like, guys, Nick Bosa's the one, do you think that an incoming guy like Chris Keurig is going to be whispering, you know what? I know you guys are really, like, Nick Bosa and everything, but I think that if I can get my hands on a guy like Buckner and Quentin Williams on the inside there, I think I can make those guys more destructive than what they would be with Bosa on the edge and Buckner on the inside. Do you think that the addition of this guy will change anything about what we're looking for in this upcoming draft? Nick, take off, baby.
All right. While I think I have said that you were crazy with taking Quentin Williams number 2 overall, you can look at it as a lot of defenses nowadays are building from pressure from the inside, which isn't a bad thing. Quentin Williams is an absolute beast. It's just, what are you going to do with Solomon Thomas? What are you going to do with Eric Armstead? Because him and Buckner next to each other would be like putting a Keurig cup in the coffee maker, because it would just go well together. I can't sit here and say that it really is going to have an effect on what we take because of a coaching change, because it's going to be overall discussion. And I just think all of us Niners fans are really thinking so much into this because of the fact that we know that we need a pass rush, significantly need a pass rush. But, man, I mean, I go over every day and I start looking at, I really like Jacoy Polite. I really like Farrell. These are guys that can be down, 6, 7, 8 range probably with trade backs if Bosa isn't there. I'm an Ohio State fan. Yes, I love Bosa. But everything's going to come down to free agency, man. And really who we're going to land. Because I think if we landed DeMarcus Lawrence, because obviously, like we said today, Dallas, and I've been saying Dallas, I would love to land DeMarcus Lawrence. Dallas really doesn't have that much money. Got a lot of contracts coming up. Then you're looking at guys like Cameron Wake now with this guy coming in and coaching. He's older, and then take somebody later in the draft. There's a lot of pass rushers out there. But I don't think, to answer your question, I don't think it's going to change our outlook on who the Niners want or who gets higher on their draft. Let's just say they don't change draft board positions. So going higher or lower because of a coach change.
That was a long ass no. You don't think it's going to make that big of a difference? No, but you said a lot of good things in there also. Tony, I want to ask you that though. Do you think that if this guy is as strong-headed and as bullheaded as you guys are making him sound, how do we know he doesn't have a favorite prospect coming out in this draft that he thinks could be a destructive force when paired with someone like Buckner? And, Nick presented a good point. And this is why a lot of fans, 49er fans, are adamant against this, picking up a Quentin Williams, right? Because why are we going to keep getting these interior guys when we need edge? But
correct.
I mean, if you can bring somebody in that's going to push Solomon Thomas, look, Solomon Thomas has been his time has been reduced, his position has been moved twice. You know what I mean? They're doing a lot of things to try to encourage Solomon Thomas. But one thing they haven't done is said, you know what? This guy's coming in here, and if you can't beat him out, then you're going to be losing your spot to him. You know, it can help with depth. It can help encourage and motivate Solomon Thomas. I mean, it might be the kick in the ass that he needs to show that he was worth that number 3 overall pick. I don't see how we can lose with that. So I want to ask you the question, though, is does getting rid of a Jeff Studina and bringing in a Kokurik, does that change what you're looking at in your draft prospects?
I think he has say as a position coach. He's going to be working with these players that are brought in routinely, daily, off-season, in-season. He's going to be the hands-on guy. But the final decision makers are the scouts and upstairs. They only go to the position coach saying, okay, what do you think of him? What do you think of him? He could say, yeah, I like him. But, I mean, I can't see how you invest a number 2 overall. I mean, listen, this is no knock against Williams. He is very talented. He's a phenomenal 3 technique in this defense. But we have a 3 technique. We have Buckner. We have a guy that was on the IR who's going to play a backup. Street.
Contavious Street, yeah.
Yeah, and then we had the other guy we picked up off waivers from Jacksonville.
Sheldon Day.
Day. You have all these guys in the center of that defense. You have DJ Jones. You still have Earl Mitchell on the roster. You still have Armstead on the roster. You have Solomon Thomas. That's an overload in the interior of that defense. We need a speed off the edge. So that's why I can't see them going again for a same body type, same positional player. Is he bad? No, he's not bad. I'm telling you, I watched him. He's a good ball player, but I just don't see us making that pick at 2 for him. It doesn't fit what we need right now. We can address free agent. We can address edge and free agency. Yes. But if Bosa drops, let's just say Bosa drops to 2. Okay. You add a free agent, you add Bosa. And if you guys notice, you said it, Solomon Thomas, once he moved inside, his game stepped up a little bit. He started getting pressures. He got several holding calls on him because he's penetrating. He's playing in he's attacking a gap. That's what this guy specializes in. So they're saying, let's bring him in to work with Solomon. Let's bring him in to work with this one and teach them the aggressive upfield pressure. Is it up to him who he wants? No, it's clearly up to the administration of the 49ers and the scouts. But he does have an opinion in it.
So do you guys think that his hiring is going to affect what's going on with Chris Kiffin? I think that this is something, I believe, Tony, it might have been you that asked me this question before. And I still don't have a definitive answer. I don't know how to answer this question, honestly.
It could.
Yeah. What about you, Nick? Do you think that this is something that because Chris Kiffin, for you guys who don't remember, Chris Kiffin was the pass rush specialist. He was the guy who's come in to specifically work on our pass rush and improving it. And this guy is like Tony was saying, that year that the Lions went 0-16, he was on that roster. But let me tell you something. That defensive line was nasty as hell that year. That defensive line was ferocious. I know that they didn't win a game. I get it. I understand that. But anytime I would watch the Lions to laugh at them that season, and those boys were nice up front. I mean, he was getting pressure with 4 down linemen. He was doing it. So I'm wondering, Nick, man, do you think that this is something that could potentially influence the future of a Chris Kiffin here?
Yes and no. Yes, I think it can. I mean, Kiffin's never really been – I don't think he's ever been a defensive coordinator, if I'm correct. Right? Maybe this is something – and obviously we don't know what the deal is worth yet for the defensive coordinator or defensive line position coach. Chris Kiffin is definitely a pass rush specialist. He definitely you did see differences in our team from the time that he came. It may not have been 1 week or 2 weeks after he came, but you've seen it towards the end of the season. You saw more Ronald Blair. You saw more DJ Jones.
Than even Taylor got some in the mix.
Yeah, right. You saw Julian Taylor. And I don't – people are going to speculate it's because of our record. No, it wasn't because of our record. It wasn't to see – I think it was Chris Kiffin saying, this guy needs more burn. This guy needs more burn. Let's get this guy in. Not because of our record or going towards the end of the season and the season almost being over, trying to see what these guys had. I think Chris Kiffin seen more in these guys. Ronald Blair should have been playing way more throughout the whole season. And I think these are reasons of us getting rid of Zagonia is because how much better would our defensive line had been if Ronald Blair was playing more in the beginning of the year to Julian Taylor, even DJ Jones over Earl Mitchell. If those guys were playing in the beginning of the season, we were already 13th. Our defense was ranked 13th from 32nd. So a lot of people that are hating on Salah, there was definitely improvement. 32nd to 13th. Last year, we were like 32nd in rush defense. We were 3rd this year in rush defense. Just think how much better our rush defense and our down linemen would have been. Buckner could have had easily probably 17 sacks, 18, maybe 19 sacks with a Ronald Blair. Or, he's get what do you have, 15 and a half? So 4 more sacks throughout the whole season? 15?
No, it was 12.5, if I'm not mistaken. It was 12 and a half. And if you look at PFF, they don't do half sacks. So they credit him with 13 sacks.
All right. So 4 more sacks, 17 sacks. I just think he could have probably got 4 more sacks throughout the whole season with a Ronald Blair playing, a Julian Taylor playing more, even Solomon Thomas playing at his true position. You notice that after Chris Kiffin came in, Solomon Thomas started getting moved inside instead of outside. You just seen a lot of these changes. And I think that was one of the biggest reasons that we got rid of Zagonia is because of the fact that he didn't recognize that talent. You're laughing at me about saying his name. I know it. I'm going to have to look it up on 49ers.com. Wait, I might not even be able to because he was canned for the correct spelling. But anyway, I'll look it up on Webster's. But I think that had a lot to do with it is the change in coaching is because there was talent there that we didn't utilize in the beginning of the season, and it wasn't recognized. And that defensive line falls under the defensive line coach, not the defensive coordinator, the defensive line coach. And he wasn't recognizing that talent and get out.
And that's going to bring me to my last point that we're going to discuss before we wrap this one up. This was meant to be a short one. Nick is talking about how indecisive these coaches were. And that's exactly what I said I wanted to change, right? And so you look at also the firing of Jeff Hafley. Now, you think back to how our secondary went, aside from injuries, look at how inconsistent Jeff Hafley was, right? You saw in the beginning of the season young guys like Ahkello Witherspoon, who 49er fans were ecstatic about coming into the season. All of a sudden, he's getting pulled, healthy scratch. You know what I mean? Or 7 snaps a game. What's going on with Ahkello Witherspoon? Things like that, and then how they worked different guys in and around on that defense and how they were moving people all over the place. You have to stop and think that did Kyle Shanahan and the rest of the staff get tired of the indecisiveness? Do they want someone that's going to be a hard-nosed decision maker and committed to it, right, wrong, or indifferent? Are they looking for someone that's going to come in there and say, these are the guys that are going to go out there and give us the best chance to win? You don't have to cycle through guys. I'm not opposed to a defensive line coach saying, yeah, I want to have a nice, healthy rotation. You got 4 starting linemen, but let's keep 7 really good players on the team so we can pop them in and out and substitute as needed. I'm not opposed to something like that. But when it comes to your guys in your secondary where communication plays a bigger role than what it does on the defensive line, things like that could potentially get guys like Jeff Hafley can, or is it just that they don't like guys named Jeff? Was his name Jeff Hafley also? Jeff Sconina and Jeff Hafley? Maybe they were just cleaning the house of all the Jeffs then. I mean, maybe I got it wrong. Maybe that's not what it was. But I want to get your guys' thoughts on that. What do you think, or do you think that Hafley specifically left for a different position. Do you think that he was going to get canned if he hadn't gone anywhere? Tony, what are your thoughts on that, man?
I think Halfley definitely felt a little uncomfortable towards season end, especially it was caught on Monday Night Football versus the Giants. That little heated exchange between him, Sherman, and Witherspoon. That's the game where Witherspoon threw his hands up in disgust, and then Kyle made that statement, you can't be doing that on the field. But I honestly, I kind of think, like, because if we take it back to when Sherman first came to the team and they went to the OTAs and they started their training camp, he was recorded in an interview by 49ers.com saying he goes to Sherman for advice. I think he might have got a little uncomfortable with that situation and maybe felt Sherman was like overpowering him with stuff. But if that's fine, if that's the way he felt, that's fine. I would like to bring someone with a little more experience in to work with the younger guys and just let, Sherman do his thing and then, add other pieces to the secondary as well. But as far as Zugina, whatever his name is,
it's the letter Z, then the word go, and then the word Nina, Nina. It's go Nina.
What's with these defensive line coaches?
Kokirikin's go Nina.
The Keurig upstairs, yeah. I think because like you said, people are playing in different positions. There was a bigger rotation. Youth was getting some play time. I think that's what Saleh wanted. I think that's what the administration wanted. And Zugina didn't do that his first year. Stop laughing, Mike. Damn. He didn't do that his first year. He ran a tighter rotation. And then halfway into year 2, that's when you saw the rotation open and the defensive line actually played better. And like you said, Blair. Who's the other guys you said? Julian Taylor. All got lots of playing time experience, which is key. That's the number one way you get experience is through playing time.
DJ Jones.
I think Earl Mitchell is done. DJ Jones is going to be that starting nose tackle now. But, I mean, as far as the moves, I see why they did it. And I also liked how they waited to get rid of the ex-defensive line coach, Jeff. And they went after the guy that they wanted. And everyone agreed on. And hopefully he's an upgrade. Hopefully he helps the Solomon Thomas. He helps the younger guys. And then, yeah, that's it. The interesting thing is going to be if Scangarello goes to Denver, who's the quarterback coach, and the defensive back coach. Those are two things I think that will be filled probably by week's end. You'll hear an announcement. You have to, because you need those guys for the Senior Bowl.
So I'm looking at the 49ers.com coaching page right now. Now, Gonina is gone. Halfley is gone. Ray Wright is gone, who was the strength and conditioning coach. But on here is still listed assistant strength and conditioning, Marquise Johnson. He's still on here. Halfley's not on here. They've updated it with the subtractions. They have not updated it with the additions yet.
Do they still have Perry on there as the assistant defensive back coach?
Perry?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dustin Perry is still here. Wait, he's assistant strength and conditioning also. Maybe I'm looking at a different Perry. You said assistant DB coach?
Or no, Bullock. Maybe Bullock was the assistant defense.
Yeah, that was Bullock. He's still here. Daniel Bullock is still here.
Perry was the assistant strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah, they're both still here though. So it looks like they're updating it with the subtractions of players, but coaches or hires, but they haven't updated it as far as the additions yet. So it's something we're going to keep our eye on, guys. I want to thank you guys for taking some time with me today, man. This was a lot of fun. We're going to continue to break things down. I know that we didn't do a breaking news the way we normally do for the YouTube page, but hopefully this will suffice. I want to thank you guys for checking us all out here. Nick is a little hobbled right now, but if you guys go to our YouTube page, check out the YouTube page, www.youtube.com/C/nothing but Niners. check out this video. This video is going to be there. It's called The Off-Season Discussion Continues. That is the name of the video. And you guys will see Nick rocking a very nice hoodie. All right. Nick is wearing this hoodie, and you can't see it because he's got his crippled arm on it, but it looks like it says Stone Cold Kittle on the front of it. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, hold on. I'll pop this thing off real quick.
All right. So while Nick is stripping on camera,
no, I pop my brace off so you can see.
Oh, the brace. Okay. Let me put the camera over there. But for the people who are listening to this in podcast format, you guys can go check it out. Right now, what we see is going to be the Stone Cold, what looks like Kittle. And it's got the smoke coming out of his eyes. It looks like it's paying homage to the Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt that they came out with a couple of years ago. It's pretty tight, man. I like that, man. That's pretty. I think that's supposed to be Kittle. I don't know. I can't tell. And that says Fearless on the back of it. Nick is showing his booty right now. I don't want to see that much. But it says Fearless right there. And for people who are wondering what Fearless means, that is what the symbol is for when George Kittle gets a first down and he does his little 3 fingers like he's doing the asshole word, but then he flicks it down real quick. That's a wrestling thing that means fearless, no fear. So it's a pretty cool shirt. It looks like it's paying homage to our second team All-Pro tight end. So, guys, you can check that out. If you're interested in getting something like that, you guys can hit up Nick on Twitter. It's 49er Faithful 365. There is no S in that 49ers, guys. It's 49er Faithful 365. You can hit him up there, or you can even shoot him an email, nick@nothingbutniners.com. All right, guys. So that's going to be it for us, Tony, man. I salute you, brother. Thank you for jumping on. Nick, salute to you as well. Any last words from you guys? You guys ready to get up out of here?
Just keep your eyes open on Twitter. Hopefully they fill out the staff and everything by the end of the week.
Yeah. Also, you guys should be very interested in watching, for the viewers out there, the Senior Bowl. See what our coaching staff can do. This is going to be something really positive. We're going to do a podcast about this later and what it means that the coaching staff gets to do this. So there's something that we'll break down later on this week, maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. We'll be able to record that and get that out to you guys later this week, okay? So you guys make sure you check that out. Nick, any words, any remarks before we wrap this thing up?
No, I mean, just overall, thanks for everybody for joining as well and always listening to us. Make sure you give us some good feedback. Give us that 5 stars listening on the podcast. I think we need to do a breakdown on some of these pass rushers, though, man. There's a lot of Josh Allen hype out there. I think, Mike, me and you need to kick it back with this Josh Allen talk. So
I will say this. I will say this before we wrap this up with it, specifically with Josh Allen. First of all, Jersey represent. But the thing is, the 49er fans have been dying for speed off the edge. And if Josh Allen does nothing well, it's that. And so that's why a lot of the fans see it. They see his movements. They see his speed. They're really, really focused on that. And then his production. You can't deny the production. But we will break that down because it's a lot more that goes into it other than production. Other than speed, you want to look at hand placement, motor skills, how many other tools they have in the belt. You know, so we'll break all that down. We'll absolutely jump on that and tear that down. For those of you who are interested in the YouTube channel or watching on YouTube, we want to make sure that you guys like this. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the little bell on. We appreciate all that. But we're going to be up out of here, all right? Prepare for glory, anticipate pain, but always remain faithful. We out.